Hi, I'm Nyree. I'm running an adoption support channel. Today though, I'm just going to go through 10 meals with you which are really good for children. Homemade meals that you can try. I'm going to tell you what the ingredients are and very roughly how to make it, but it's going to give you some ideas, and it's going to also be cheap on the budget, and these are quick, easy meals. I've got 7 children. I've tried and tested these meals and they're kind of like the favourites. So number 1 is shepherd's or cottage pie, depending where you come from. Now I'm going to base the next mincemeat meals I have on beef mince, but of course you can use any mince, any type of meat you want, and you can interchange it with a vegetarian substitute like corn as well. Now this is the most basic way that I make cottage pie. I just fry off some onion in the pan, and then fry off the mincemeat, and I then add beef gravy granules to give it a thickness with water, but you can use a stock cube with water, and corn flour will do the same thing. It then makes like a thick gravyish kind of base mincemeat, and I put that to one side. I then make a really creamy mash with boiled potatoes that have been boiled down. I add quite a bit of butter and milk and some salt and pepper and really mash it into a nice creamy mashed potato. I then layer that on top. Now this is where you can choose budget wise. Sometimes I put cheese on, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I add a can of tomatoes in with the mincemeat, and sometimes I don't, but that's extra expense. Then pop it in the oven for about 30 minutes and serve it with a vegetable. So that's number 1. Number 2 is spaghetti bolognese, another favourite and has high nutritional value. Again, bear in mind what I've said about the mince. So with this is a homemade version. So you fry off onion, garlic and mincemeat and combine that. Then you add in some tomato puree. So just basically cover the mince with enough tomato puree that you can see it takes on a colour. I then add in a can of tomatoes, which is the cheapest option to fresh tomatoes, and let that simmer for a bit. You can add extra vegetables into this if you want to, and I'll leave that to your imagination, but I'm going basic here. And then I will add in some gravy granules and a little bit of water, again to bring it together into a nice sauce. And then you've got your cheap hard spaghetti. I say cheap, just the cheapest long hard spaghetti that you can buy, and serve it like that. So that's that one. My third idea is Cowboy Mints, which starts off in a similar way. So you fry off the onion and you fry off the mincemeat, and you then add in some gravy granules and a little bit of water, but you're making a savoury mince. So you add in baked beans, you add in sweet corn, and you add in a can of tomatoes and just simmer it down, and it just takes on like generally a savoury mince flavour. It's more of a beefy flavour than a spaghetti bolognese. Then you just serve that with whatever you want, whether it be jacket potato, rice, pasta, whatever you want. And it's just a change, another way to use mincemeat. And then there's the whole meatball thing. Now this is a bit more fiddly, so it's not as quick and easy as the others, but you make meatballs out of your mincemeat by combining the mincemeat with egg. That's what makes it combine. Add some herbs in there, and some recipes use crackers, but I don't think that's necessary. You fry off the meatballs at the start so they take on a form, and then you do what I just said to make the sauce like you did for spaghetti bolognese, and that's meatballs instead of spaghetti bolognese, and serve it with what you want. So that's 4 mincemeat dishes. So now you're sick of mincemeat, I know, but it's cheap. That's the thing, it's cheap and it's easy to get hold of. So my next idea for you is one that I think people forget quite a lot really, is eggs. So obviously you can do whatever you want with eggs, but I think a meal would be an omelette. So for this you need just a small amount of oil in the bottom of a pan. You need to have several eggs, so it depends how many people you're feeding, but we say 6 eggs. You beat them up with a relatively small amount of milk and put some butter in there, salt and pepper, and just give them a good stir, and that's your omelette mixture made. Now, what you put in there then is up to you and how much you have, how much money you have. But if you want to give it some flavour, you need to put something in there. So you could have cheap ham, chop that up into little bits and throw that in. So when you throw the mixture of the omelette into the pan, a bit like how you make a pancake, you add some ham on the top of the omelette, and then you can add whatever you like, tomatoes, onions, or none of the above if you don't want to put any of that in. It is much more tasty if you put cheese in, but as I said before, cheese is expensive. And then serve it with some salad or vegetables, whatever you like to serve it with. So that's number 5. So number 6 is a homemade soup, and I can't tell you how much my younger boys like this, which is surprising. So within this, you kind of base it on red vegetables. It's got tomatoes in it, red lentils, potato, carrots, an onion, and garlic if you can find it. Now you can do it without any one of those things, as long as you either have the lentils or the potato, because that's what thickens it into a soup, and then you just reduce all of it down and it gives you a nice red kind of look. It doesn't really look like tomato soup, but it kind of goes that way. As much or little of any of those ingredients as you want. I always season everything that I do, so I'd be seasoning that, and reduce those vegetables down and then let it cool. And then I add some milk in to make it creamy, and then I blend it down, right down into a blended soup, and serve it with bread. And that is very nutritious, particularly if you have the lentils in there. Be really careful the lentils don't stick to the bottom, and don't put too many lentils in, otherwise it gets quite sludgy. So that was my number 6. So how about just a meat casserole? And you can choose cheaper cuts of meat. So when I'm doing a chicken casserole, instead of buying kind of like the higher cuts of chicken, I will just get chicken thighs or chicken legs. And yes, I've got to kind of get the whole skin off at the end or the bones out in the end, but it's cheaper and it gives a lot of flavour as well. And when it comes to beef, then look for the cheaper cuts of beef. But what you need to just do is just have it on a low heat for a long time. So have it on a really low heat for at least 4 hours when you use cheaper cuts of meat. But it's going to save you money. And in that casserole, just go basic. Just go carrots and onions if you want to. Or you can add more in, but carrots and onions and maybe potato with your chicken and a stock cube. It's going to give you a really lovely casserole, and it's basic and children will eat it because they're not seeing lots of other things in there. So chicken casserole is my next one. I think I'm on number 8. So making a white sauce, so with butter, flour and milk, make up a white sauce, put some seasoning in it, and then that is a base for a pasta dish, cheap and easy and quick. And you can use bits of bacon, small bits of ham to make it a little bit more flavoursome, and just cook your pasta, pour your white sauce on, and again, cheese on top is nice but not necessary, and then have your vegetables to the side. I would put them to the side. The next one, probably a bit controversial with children. I think I'm on number 9. That is, you make that white sauce again. You don't put the bacon in it. You have a bag of white frozen fish, the cheapest you can find really. Defrost that, just lightly fry it off in the pan. It doesn't have to be completely cooked, but lightly fry it off in a pan. Lay it in the bottom of the dish, pour the white sauce on top, and make the mash like I said to you before. Make a nice creamy mash, put it on top, stick it in the oven for probably not even 30 minutes, maybe 20, and it'll be done, and serve vegetables to the side. And just tell them it's chicken. No, not really. Don't do that. So that's fish pie for you. It's nice to have fish in the kind of whole mix of things, isn't it? And so number 10 is a ratatouille or a vegetable lasagna. And I'm guessing most children would prefer the vegetable lasagna, but the ratatouille is cheaper. So you're looking to reduce down Mediterranean vegetables. So peppers, aubergines, courgettes, tomato, onion are the 5 that I can think of. You know, sometimes it doesn't matter if you don't have a courgette, but you've got aubergines. It doesn't matter if you've got aubergines, but you have a courgette. But you need 4 or 5 kind of soft Mediterranean vegetables. You reduce them down in the pan, and you really need cider vinegar for this. I haven't tried normal vinegar, but it's possible that that will work as well. Cider vinegar and sugar and tomato puree kind of make the base quite a rich, tasty sauce for those vegetables. And you don't need a lot of sauce for this. You kind of make it in the bottom of the pan, reduce down those vegetables, and then you serve that with pasta as well, and you kind of get that real Mediterranean barbecue-y taste. If you wanted to do a lasagna, you layer those, you kind of cook the vegetables in a similar way, semi-cook, and then layer that with the lasagna sheets, and then you could make your own white sauce. It's just a little bit more complicated, but probably more delicious, because you get the layers of the Mediterranean vegetables with the nice sauce, and you get the white sauce on top. So I think that was 10, but let's just throw one in case I didn't get to 10, and that's a scooped out jacket potato. It never was an easier thing to make. Big jacket potatoes in the oven and cook them, slice them in half, scoop the middles out, and then add some nice butter, cheese if you have it, and perhaps a little bits of ham or bacon with the filling. Put the filling back in, and then if you want to, crack an egg on top and put it back in the oven and just cook as long enough for the egg to cook, and then you've got a filled jacket potato with egg on top, which you could serve with any vegetables, baked beans, whatever you want to. Guys, I hope that helps you. The reason why I've done this video is because sometimes when I look at cooking videos and I see people with, I'm sure, well-meaning ideas, I still look and think, do we have time for all these bits and bobs in our cooking? Do we have the money for all these bits and bobs in our cooking? Do we want to face our children with lots and lots and lots of different types of vegetables and herbs and garnishes that they're probably not going to eat? And for me, the answer to that is no. So I hope that helps you. This is an adoption support channel, but you could still subscribe if you want to check out some of my videos that are purely around children and parenting children. But if you're an adopter or a potential adopter, then this channel is exactly for you, definitely for you. So please check out my playlist. Thank you.